Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
Back. It is the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show here from the Ravens Room at the Blue Ox, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City with Ravens Roost 44. Give yourselves a hand, guys. And of course, we invite all Ravens fans to come on down to the show every Wednesday night here at 7 o'clock. Would love to have you. And hey, maybe we can make some new members of the Roost, so that would be good. And hey, we're also making it more than worth your while, as every show we're giving away some tickets to various Ravens games, courtesy of jctickets.net. So you want to come down, you want to get your little stubs, we'll put it in a box here, and we'll draw the winners. Also, we're giving away a free Ravens jersey every game as well. So come on down to the show again every Wednesday, 7 o'clock here at the Blue Ox in Ocean City.
Don't forget the geckos.
We'd love to have you. Oh, yeah, and the
Showing the
geckos
gecko.
well.
We got the gecko all dressed up.
We got the gecko. I don't know if we get it in camera view here, but
gecko cam.
Yeah, so looks good. Got the turtle hat, the Ravens jersey, and a little biker T-shirt from Bike Week last week. And of course, want to welcome all those in town for. Well, we've got it's Summerfest here.
Sunfest.
Or Sunfest. Well, it's Summerfest. Sunfest as we wrap up summer in Ocean City. Should be a good time, and lots going on, of course, down at the inlet. Back to the task at hand, though. The Ravens lose to the Eagles 24-23, and we talked a lot of offense here in the first segment. And I guess just to wrap things up on that side, you know, we talk about a tale of two halves with Joe Flacco and the offense as well. I mean, it takes 10 other guys as well in addition to Joe. So while some of it was him, I think some of it was, the other 10 guys. You talked about the difference in the tight end situation. Brent Selleck for Philadelphia, 8 catches, 157 yards, averaged almost 20 yards a catch. Dennis Pitta, who's becoming very quickly a favorite of Joe Flacco as a target, 8 for 65, just 8.1. Now, that's not bad, but compared to what Philadelphia was able to do with their tight end, that's a big difference. And I don't think their linebackers, for instance, are that much better than ours. If anything, I think our linebackers are better than theirs. But anyway, speaking of which, I think one of the losses in the game, not just in the game itself, but when you lose Bernard Pollard like that early in the game after a guy who had 4 tackles, he had a sack, and one heck of a hit on Brent Selleck, even though he held on to the ball. That's a huge loss. I mean, I've made mention of this before, guys. You can talk about Haloti Ngata, you can talk about Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, but I'm telling you, Bernard Pollard is just as valuable, if not on par, with some of those guys in the defense.
Pollard was the one guy, when I went to the exhibition game, and you looked at him run around, it wasn't an exhibition game for him. I mean, he was going double time what everybody else was doing. And the announcers were talking about a guy, we couldn't pick a better guy from another organization to come in. I mean, he was a Raven, he just wasn't on our team yet. Right. And when he came into there, so I think the loss of him, how he had a sack and he had an interception before he got hurt. And the other thing is we were playing without Kruger. So, you had Upshaw come in, and Upshaw was doing a good job, but he was a step slow. I mean, when he was chasing Vic across the field, you could just, he's got the heavy foot.
Well, not many people get chased down.
Exactly, and a lot of people got heavy feet when they're chasing Michael Vick. But the reality is, he's going to be good, but it's probably going to take him half a year to get it under his belt. But I thought that those two guys really played well. But we were missing a couple, in Kruger and Pollard, and I do think that came into play.
Yeah, Pollard. I mean, you're right, Mike. And I think there's the two factors go hand in hand here. Pollard going out in Selleck's day. I mean, you get hit a few times and you all of a sudden start going a little slower across the middle of the field. So, but he just disrupts the whole scheme. And I think you saw a less aggressive approach. Here we have a situation you know, with the Philadelphia Eagles, where you know their center goes down. You have their second left tackle goes down. Now they're playing with some dude that was, you know, off the street probably a week ago at left tackle. So the two most important offensive linemen are both brand new, going against a Ravens defense that should be still at a pretty good, you know, if not elite level, very good level. And where was the attack? I mean, we saw. I mean, that should have been. We should have been seeing middle blitzes. We should have been making that center. That center's a quarterback of the offensive line. We should have been confusing him. Confusing Michael Vick's not the smartest guy. He can't handle a blitz off the edge. We see that from other teams all the time. That's how Pollard got his sack, was coming off the edge there. And we saw one, maybe two pressures come his way, and we just stopped being aggressive. We were overly aggressive, if you want to call it that, almost arrogant in our offensive play calling, and not aggressive at all in our defensive play calling. We did not take advantage of the situation.
Although, John, as you know, with as many weapons as they have, I think you have to be a little bit more judicious in blitzing against that team, especially with being without Terrell Suggs. And to your point, too, though, I'll say this. Defensive line needs to step it up more this year, getting a push up front. And while it happened somewhat against Cincinnati, it sure as heck didn't happen against Philadelphia. And to your point, against the line at one point, it was without two other starters.
Yeah, I mean, Nada was getting a little bit of pressure at times, but the rest of the guys kind of vanished, it seemed like. But I mean, this is just a situation where you have to be in attack mode, and you need to look. Vic is dumb. All right, let's just say it. Vic is a dumb guy.
How do you really feel?
He's blessed with tremendous athletic ability, but he's not going to tear you apart with.
He's average at reading the defense.
He's not going to tear you apart with his mind. He's not going to set you up and throw the ball over the place. So we can't be all worried. I think we get worried about. We got to keep Vic in the pocket, because if he gets out of the pocket, then he's dangerous. And then we saw the touchdown to Macklin wide open. Well, he's only dangerous if you're dumb back. All right. So I don't know what Ed Reed's doing. All right.
I was going to say there's a touchdown right there that we gave up. Kerry Williams thought he had help over the top. Ed Reed bites underneath that, and he's wide open.
The only way you beat dumb, the only way you lose the dumbness is by being dumber. So you have dumb and dumber, and that's what happened. Vic's dumb, but we were dumber. Touchdown. All right.
That's a very elementary way of putting it.
Well, that's right. As soon as the center went out, we did an X stunt in the middle, and we sacked him. I was like, okay, here we go. Floodgates open, and that was it. I mean, I'm like, and even the announcer was saying, okay, they have no more linemen on the team. They lost the left tackle, they lost their center. Why are they not blitzing them? And it just didn't happen. It was like Greg Madison had come back from University of Michigan. And
but the difference is when Greg Madison was here, he didn't have the lockdown corners that Dean Pease had and before him with Pagano. So.
I tell you what, though, you mentioned Pollard, but Ladarius Webb, I mean, the guy is just a machine. He's an animal. The guy makes tackles. He even tackles the right guy. Like Ed Reed, he's trying to make a tackle, and he tackles their center and knocks them out of the game. I don't know what's happening with the tackling, but Ladarius Webb is just completely all over the place.
I will say this.
I thought he would have been a great one to blitz. So.
The Pollard loss is big, and especially in the blitz game, too, because we can use him there. To be fair, though, Selig still had 4 catches for 68 yards before Pollard was injured. I'd like to think, though, that his impact there on the field and maybe his own adjustments would have cut down on the continued production that he had after he left the game. But he did have some success with him in there. But that's big, and hopefully, and we'll find out, I think probably it'll be a game decision as we talk today. Pollard did not practice, although he says he's going to go Sunday. That would be a huge loss to this defense. But as I mentioned, guys, the defensive line, 2 sacks, 3 quarterbacks hits, but in the whole scheme of things, they need to get more pressure up front. I guess to flip that around on a positive, LaShawn McCoy was kept intact. I was very concerned, especially we talked about the run defense being average at best against Cincinnati, and even going back to the last half of last year, they really stepped up. LaShawn McCoy was very much contained.
I tell you what, but the Eagles were no better in their play calling either. I mean, that Andy Reid is a screen machine. All right, the guy runs so many machines going back to Brian Westbrook days, and LaShawn McCoy has got more juice than Brian Westbrook did. No screens to McCoy. I mean, and it was so I don't know the play.
We respect our defense for being able to snuff those out.
But I mean, maybe so. But you just don't stop running plays that work. It just didn't seem like McCoy is getting as many touches as he did last year. And Ray, I mean, the 2 guys here, 2 of the top running backs in the league.
25 carries at 25 for 81, 3.2 average. I'd say hats off to the run defense. They came to play.
I was going to say the run defense came, and that's what I was worried about. You know, we've always been worried about, you know, how are we going to pressure the passer? And you know, obviously Dean Pease is going to have to figure it out. It's not going to be easy. But the reality is, for this game, I think it's a better matchup for us from that standpoint. You know, I think we're going to do better.
We'll talk about that.
What I'm worried about, obviously, is the tight ends, that kind of stuff. But you know, I thought the defense played very well. You know, up until midway through the fourth quarter.
You losing your mind?
Midway through the fourth quarter.
So a caveat there. Hey, guys, here's a number that sticks out, though. According to Pro Football Focus, and John Harbaugh in the press conference on Monday admitted that it was above average in terms of this number. 14 missed tackles by Ravens defenders in the loss to Philadelphia. That's significant. You want to talk about cutting down yards after the catch or with running the ball, so on and so forth. That's huge. And who knows, maybe those yards make a difference in one less score. Whether it be a field goal or a touchdown, that's a difference in the game. Sure.
Oh, anytime you have a one-point game, I mean, it comes down to, you look at McClellan when the ball went through his hands on that one play. You look at a million different ones. You look at Jacoby Jones and the pass interference that wasn't called all game, and all of a sudden we're going to randomly out of nowhere call an offensive pass interference when he's getting held the entire game.
Which even ESPN and outside Ravens fans said that was a bad call. That should have been a touchdown.
But I think that was a major difference. I mean, you heard Harbaugh in the interview after the game say that we don't know what constitutes pass interference. So, obviously they didn't know what constituted, so they were just holding us, whereas we were staying 10 yards off the guy.
But you can still tackle.
You can still tackle. You can still tackle. When the Ravens win the Super Bowl, you go back to that defense. I don't know if they missed the tackle all year.
Well, but that times have changed. I mean, and this isn't just a Ravens issue, although I still think, as John Harbaugh says, we're a good tackling team, but we're not a great team. I think we can be there. But with the reduced time in pads, I mean, they're going to be in pads one day this week. They're going to hit one time, that's it. Teams with the new CBA, they don't practice as much. They don't practice in pads as much. That's a problem.
So think about this. So now we're talking about we miss tackles and we can't get off the line of scrimmage, or wide receivers can't get off the line of scrimmage. We're talking about fundamental football, all right, that you don't even need pads. All right, to tackling.
Well, to some extent, but you're still ultimately being out there in pads. It makes a difference.
You don't just throw your shoulder in, and you can do wrap-up drills without pads. But releasing off the line of scrimmage, we're talking about fundamentals. So if we're talking about fundamentals and what the Ravens did poorly, now we have to get into the coaching situation and wonder why we can't get a guy to do a swim technique and a jab step. I mean, Jacoby Jones did a great job on his touchdown with a double release on was it Asamoah?
Yeah, we've got less than 60 seconds, but I will say, we talk about the refs, and it's a huge issue, and we could talk about this in some future segments, but it's a huge problem. These replacement refs are downright terrible, and games are taking forever. The networks are complaining that games are taking an extra half hour, eating into their programming. It's a mess. I know teams have to adjust, but this is pretty brutal out there. But we'll talk about it more coming up. It is the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, home of the Ravens, 93.5 The Beach. We're back with more.
Out there. What are you doing, man? Poor defenseless me.
They played well.
Me up.
They played well.
I said until midway through the fourth quarter.
Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.